that good? Did you want me to use your head instead? Is that what you
It's that
said?
same sound.
It makes the same sound, okay. Thank you all for coming. I see we're still getting some more chairs out. Do we have any left? I know somebody's in the closet, aren't they? Are they coming out of the closet? Okay, anyway, Bruce wanted to say something.
Hey, I just wanted to say a couple of things to you. Welcome to the chapel. And can y'all come back on Sunday? We're glad that you're here today, and we're glad that the chapel can host things like this. It's great for the community. It's great to gather together, and we just look forward to a good meeting today. Let's keep it. Okay? But anyway, we're glad you're here. Yes, on Sunday.
Give us a prayer to start with.
We're gonna have yes, ma'am.
I'd like to say, if anybody has an empty seat next to them, will you raise your hand so somebody in the back can sit down?
There's an empty seat right up front. Oh, she's going over there. There's another seat here if somebody wants one. Okay. Are we settled?
There's a seat up here.
We got another seat, right? And there's 2 more seats if y'all guys want them back there. Or if you want to be manly and stand, you can. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Raise your hand if you are so glad on this beautiful day that you're in a meeting. If you raised your hand, I was going to send y'all some medication, but nobody raised their hand, so we're doing good. We're going to start off this meeting with an invocation by Tony Allred, and then we will stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Tony, would you lead us in an invocation, please?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'd be happy to. Let's bow here, please. Almighty God and Father, call us to live in right relationship with our neighbors and to give others their proper due. Assist us with the grace we need to conduct ourselves with uprightness and truth, that we may foster harmony in human flourishing. We pray this in the name of Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
The flag is over here, if you can't see it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming to our important meeting. It's kind of a unique meeting where we're going to be talking about securing grant funding for the sanitary sewer project, how to propose the sewer, how our proposed sewer plant will be designed and constructed and meet the needs of our city. We're going to hear about future development, and then we're going to provide during this whole time for you all to ask questions about these subjects. First of all, I'd like to recognize in the audience that we have representatives from our condo association, we have representatives from timeshare, and we have representatives from the club. Do any of you all, would you all like to make a comment about the sewer project or the development project? Any of you? Okay. All right, they jumped up quickly. All right. These people, these organizations have implied to us and told us that they are very seriously in need of the sewer project. And it's very important for them to continue operating in the future. So I just wanted to tell you that they have let us know that. All right, to open up our meeting, we're going to have some speakers. We're going to have an update on the status of the $2 million ARC grant, and that's very interesting. And Mr. Jason Streetman, our city manager, will be doing that presentation. Then we'll have a summary of the proposed septic to sewer system that we're looking at, and that will be given by Mr. Jerry Hood, who is sitting next to me from the engineering management firm that we have contracted with. And then I am extremely pleased and happy that Mr. Harrison Merrill Jr. let us know yesterday he would like to attend this meeting, and he is here to talk about his Sky Valley development plans. So that's exciting. So thank you to all our presenters in advance. Mr. Streetman, if you will come forth and do your presentations. Oh, there you are.
Hello, everybody. I'll try to speak loud without sounding like I'm yelling, but as the mayor said, I'm gonna provide an update of actually both grants. Because I realize that some of you may not be aware of the first grant that was received. In 2021, the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, or more commonly known as GEFA, announced they had set aside $15 million for infrastructure grant funds. And this was, they called this a septic to sewers program, and it's a conversion grant. They set aside $15 million, which was 5 $3 million grants. They were competitive grants, and they were intended for communities, counties, cities in Georgia that have existing development that's on septic systems that have possibly $8 million failing systems. We competed for that grant. The city applied for the grant, and the city found out it was awarded one of those grants. Interesting things about that grant is that it does not have a match component to it. So, so when the city found out about that grant, and again, this was in late 2021, as great as that was for the city was aware that that $3 million would not fully fund the plant. And so in essence, the grant has been put on pause while the city looked for other funding sources, primarily other grants, all in an effort not to borrow money to do this plant. Fast forward to now, 2025, about 3 or 4 months ago, the city was informed through the Georgia Mountain Regional Commission. I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but they're based in Gainesville, and that's a state agency. And the Georgia Mountain is made up of 13 mountain counties, 38 cities in which Reagan County and Sky Valley is a part of. They let the city know that the ARC, while they're acronyms here, the ARC, the Appalachian Regional Commission, which is a federal agency, has set aside $20 million comprised of 10 $2 million grants that could be used for infrastructure. These grants are competitive. However, they were competitive in a way that the first 10 communities that applied got to apply. Sky Valley was one of the 10 to bid for the 10 grants. An interesting thing about that grant, that $2 million grant, is number one is intended for economic development, job creation, but it requires a match, a one-to-one match. So that really puts a challenge with a lot of communities, because to vie for 2 million, you got to show you've got the 2 million. Well, fortunately, the $3 million GEFA grant that I mentioned, that has not been drawn on, the city was able to use that $3 million as the match for the 2 million to go for the 5. When we applied for this grant back late July, early August, the ARC grant, we were told that we should do something by early September. Early September came, we were told to know something by mid-September. Of course, we're talking about the federal government. And then mid-September, the city was told that we may know something as late as September 30th, which was this last Tuesday. And the key about that is that was the last day of the federal fiscal year. When I talked with GMRC Tuesday, they had told the city that the ARC has began awarding these grants. However, they're doing it alphabetically. Blairsville has found out. Cleveland has found out. Dawsonville, we're S. So I told them, I said, look, if you put 30537, it comes up Dillard, and you just, but anyway. So anyway, they told us on the 30th, well, you may know something by Wednesday the 1st, Tuesday the 2nd. Well, what happened on the 1st? The government shut down. It's a federal agency. So I was told this morning that there may very well be an answer, but there's nobody at work to call us to give us that answer, email us. And then it may be, who knows how long this will last, but it may be another 2 weeks. But the fact of the matter is, the questions, the follow-up questions that have been asked of the city, they're more affirmative questions versus, you know, this doesn't make sense kind of stuff. And the fact that there's 10 applicants applying for 10 grants, obviously can't guarantee anything, but I would say confidence is high that it looks good for the city. But again, I wish when we schedule this meeting, we were told we would know. But again, we're talking to the federal government. But anyway, I wanted to conclude by saying, okay, if I was to tell you today that the city received the grant, what's next? We have been told that if the city does in fact receive the grant, there's about a 30 to 40 day period where the ARC grant will be down to the state, to GFA. The money will be combined into a $5 million grant, and GFA will be the administrator of the grant. And and they will call for a meeting. Once that's done, it will be kind of a breakout meeting. And they said that they would expect myself as manager, the mayor, probably Mr. Hood, our city attorney, et cetera. And in that meeting, they would break down what the requirements are, compliance, how you draw, how you stay in compliance, et cetera, et cetera. If the city does not get the grant, then we're where we are, back to square one. So anyway, that's again, some of y'all, I've talked to some of y'all before this meeting, and I told y'all that we may not know, but again, it's, you know, we're dealing with the federal government and the shutdown. But anyway, hopefully that answers your questions. I'll do my best to answer anything else.
All right, we're gonna set that up
Okay.
and let it be known that my motto is, and my family used to say this about me, they said a bunch of stuff about me, but I'll tell you what, this part, that I have a healthy disregard for the impossible. So we're going to keep doing what we need to do to get what we need in this city. Since this is a question session too, it would be great if after each speaker, if you have a question, and we certainly welcome questions, that you will raise your hand. If you're recognized, please come to our beautiful podium here, state your name and your address and your question, and we're gonna reserve it to be about 2 minutes because we've got so many people here and probably we'll have a lot of questions. And we're going to be kind. Yes, say yes. Yes, okay, good. All right. I didn't hear all of y'all. Okay. Do we have any did you want to say anything about the water system that's part of the sewer system?
Well,
Or do you want Cody to say that?
well, I didn't want to take his thunder, but we,
You want your thunder, Cody?
For the second time.
Okay.
Whatever I need to do.
in essence, I know that I'm pleased to say, as many of you probably have known, many months ago, it seemed like every time we turned around, we were having water breaks. It was taxing to the citizens, taxing to the staff, expensive to the city. We've been very proactive the past few months, between rebuilding our pressure kits, doing the listening devices, Cody, that we do to help find leaks. Last month, our water loss, you know, one time I think we mentioned it was what, 60%?
Yeah, over 50%.
Yeah, exactly. For the month of August, our water loss was 25%. For this month, we just read meters on Tuesday, our water loss was at 15%. So, proud to say that, you know, the mountain system, the challenges that we have, I want to really give credit to the staff for what they've been doing. And of course, you know, it costs, you know, lost water is something that we take seriously. But I will say this, when we renewed our water withdrawal permit back in 21, aspirationally, we need to be under 25%. So I just wanted to brag on the city a little bit.
Cody, did you want to add anything to that?
I think you hit it pretty well, but I mean, I want to thank, you know, everybody that supported us, even when, you know, you're having to boil the water and all that. And, you know, we try our best. We're out all night long, and we appreciate the patience.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Streetman? If you'll come up front, please, sir. Thank you.
You ready?
We always ready.
My name's Jeff Hackney. I have owned a place up on Erie Lane for 21 years. And what they were talking about with the boiling water problem and all that stuff is absolutely true. Biggest question I have, I've been in construction for over 45 years and getting bids from different people. And when your bid gets stretched out for a length of time, the contractor will change his price or check it to make sure he's still good.
Yeah.
The original study that was done in 2017 for the cost, has there been a new study done to adjust that price?
The price of
The water system,
Sewer.
the
the
sewer.
sewer or whatever, yes,
These gentlemen will be answering your questions.
okay. Another thing that I have is, I've also heard there's gonna be mandatory for us to hook into the system at a cost of $3,000 per year. Then an average cost of what the bill's gonna be for water is gonna be about $100 a month. For the units that we have, counting up and down, which I told that's the way it's gonna be done, it's gonna cost our association $30,000 just to hook up. So I would like to find out why we have to hook up when our septic tanks were just pumped 2.5 years ago. And everything's fine, working fine, no problems.
We will, nothing has been decided on that, okay?
Okay,
We don't have the prices or anything decided at this point. We'll get back to you on that, okay? And you,
Yeah, I wouldn't mind answering some of those questions while they're fresh in our mind.
go ahead.
If you don't mind.
Sherry Hood from Engineering Management Incorporation. Incorporation, whatever.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Anyway, yeah, that study's obsolete. That was conventional sewers with the big 8-inch pipes and manholes, which is running about $150 per foot now. The new system that's being proposed now is a low pressure, pressurized system with smaller diameter pipes. The cost of the project right now, we've got our marching orders is $5 million, period. And the city plans to, once that money is secured, we get it a little bit further along, we'll be putting out bids based on a CMAR type of project delivery, construction manager at risk, where when they bid 4.9 million or whatever it is, that is the number that they'll work. That'll be the guaranteed maximum price. We've got our orders. We're not gonna borrow any money. We're gonna get the system within $5 million.
let me interrupt you one second.
yeah.
Being in construction 45 years,
Mhm.
there's such a thing called change orders.
I deal with them every day.
And I know you probably do.
Sure.
But I have never heard a contractor lock into a price and say that he's not gonna raise his price, ever.
Got three projects just like that. Two in Bronson, one in Cushing, under CMAR.
Okay.
There is built-in contingencies in that, because if you go into a CMAR, you have a price at 60%, 80%, then 100%. Then once you get to 100% plans, it's locked in, period. And he's already got all his quotes from all his suppliers.
And when were those quotes quoted to him? Because like I said, y'all know what's happened since COVID.
Oh, very much.
Everything's doubled,
Double and
if
triple.
not more.
That's right.
Let me add,
Yeah, go ahead.
the CMAR format, you finish design with the contractor. He has all the input in design, so it's not a design bid build. So he's able to lock in that price because he has chosen a lot of the materials with you. He has had full input on the final design, so it's like a design build. So it, just so the mechanics, so you understand, it's not like you said, you're gonna build this and it's a structure in which he does take that, if you stay within the scope.
One more thing I'm gonna say, and then I'll sit down and let somebody else take over. At the last meeting y'all had at the club, it was stated that our taxes are not going to increase. That's impossible in my book. Because you're gonna need more police, more maintenance people that's working on the water like this gentleman over here. So I'm
Jason,
sorry, I
would you like to
can't believe
respond to that? Jason,
I think Madam Mayor, I think what was stated was that there would be no tax increase to fund the sewer system.
No, they said, no, they said, basically what they said, they were not gonna raise the millage rate, which would increase our taxes. That's exactly what was said at that last meeting. So I'll sit down, shut up, somebody else
you
will take over.
don't have to shut up. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank
We
you.
will do all we can to not raise taxes, especially if And I gotta say this the right way, so legally, I'm not supposed to ask you to vote for something, but I will ask for you to consider to vote for the T-Splost initiative on the ballot. That is the Transportation Special Local Option Sales Tax. If that is put into effect, then that's where it's the penny on every dollar that's spent in Raven County. And most of those dollars come from tourists, people walking through and visiting our area. If we get that passed, we will have an additional $3 million added to our budget. Enough said. Y'all get the idea, right? Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody else? Yes, I see a hand. Please come up. Oh, Miss McNaughton, come on up here. State your name and address and do your thing.
Okay, Linda Taunton, 308 Sky High Drive.
Say it loud.
308 Sky High Drive.
Right,
Take 2 minutes on the.
2 minutes. Okay.
Question for Harrison Merrill.
Wait a minute, he hasn't given his presentation. Can you hold on that question?
Yes.
Thank you. You got exercise. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, come on up. Is this a question for Jason?
Yes.
All right, come on down, as they say.
I'll try not to trip, I've already done.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
I have two questions that relate.
Name and address.
Michelle Herschel, 108 Ridge Pole.
Thank you, Michelle.
They're related to the $2 million grant. If we do not get that grant, what happens to the $3 million that we've already had?
Great question. Jason, take it.
Yes, sir, that is really up to JIPA. As I mentioned in my presentation earlier, we've hit pause. And about every 6 months, I get a phone call. What's going on? We're working away. We have not drawn a dime of that grant, but I will say to you and everybody here that if we get closer to 2026, it will be 5 years that we got that grant. And I'm sure they're wanting that money. They're holding that money to the side, the state is, or JIPA is, and if it doesn't, they're probably gonna call it back if something happens. So,
Is there a date certain that could happen?
I would say next year. Now, I'm not saying it's got to be spent by next year, but if there's not good faith effort to get the process going, then there's a strong possibility to lose that grant.
And is that only tied to the sewer plant? We can't use that money for anything else?
Yes, it is specific. It is that septic sewage. It's actually intended, it's not so much for new development as for existing development. That was the intent of that. Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, I wish we could use it for water or roads, or whatever, but it's specific. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my second question may be more contentious than my first, but so if you still don't get the $2 million, have any of your conceptual developers been contacted to put some of their own money into the sewer plant?
On the $2 million side, when we applied, we were actually told by ARC, and I wish they were here, but they said that specifically the city cannot ask a developer because ARC advocates for the local government. I thought that was kind of odd, but because I've always believed that they should put skin in the game, but that's what was conveyed. That
was for the
$2 million.
If we don't get the 2 million, have any of these conceptual developers been approached to see if they can pony up money, if they, if it's their interest? In my opinion, that they might need to.
If there's no other grants to acquire, if the intent is truly, which has been conveyed up to me by this council, is to not borrow money, that or we build an extremely small plant for $3 million. I mean, but those are the options. Yes, ma'am.
So,
Jason, do you want me to answer that a little
Yeah,
bit? As
by the way, this is Harrison Merrill Jr.
Nice to see everyone, but yeah, typically on developments like this, we do a lot all around the country. The trunk line is the key piece for the city. what we will bring to the table as a developer is obviously we'll build out the sewer within our area, but also there's typically impact fees and tap fees that are collected when something's built that goes to the city to basically reimburse for some of that trunk line, pay for a lot of the costs that were mentioned earlier. But that's the big impact that developers kind of bring to the table, is that impact fee on connection, impact or tap fee, where it can be used for reimbursement to the city or for maintenance on the sewer, or really anything else that's needed.
But you would agree that you as a developer are not gonna develop here without a sewage treatment plant.
We wouldn't be able to develop the plans in the mixed use piece, but you could develop single family residential. But the mixed use piece is honestly what really makes me personally excited in the company, because it's something that's can be really unique and I think great for Sky Valley.
Also, we have talked about the city would like to own the piece of property that our sewer plant is going to be put on, because we would also like to add a building for our public works people to be able to store materials and, you know, have maintenance tools in there to work on the sewer plant. We also would like to increase to include a place where people can bring their, what is it, when you bring garbage and you recyclables, thank you, recyclables. And so we have a lot of plans for that piece of property. And so, yes, he's going to let us have that piece of property. So I thought that was a good thing also. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you very much. Any more questions? So let's go ahead and let Mr. Hood is going to talk about the what his company does as far as they are hired to help us in this project. His company does not build the sewer plant. He's here to help us design it and get it going and help us, because we don't know what we're doing, obviously. All right, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. So we have made trips to Sky Valley since 1999. This is our third or fourth attempt, if you will, to work with the local government to get a basic sewer system. We've looked at many concepts, many alternatives, which government also requires you to do. Right now, the concept is to build a package wastewater treatment plant. If you want, a package plant is a plant that's pre-designed for domestic wastewater, which domestic is what we're dealing with. If you go behind Piggly Wiggly and see this big black box, that's the city of Dillard's package plant. It's been there about 20 years. I've been beside it many times. I've never noticed that. An odor. Does a very good job. It's permitted by the Georgia EPD. They permit by amount of flow it can take in. They also permit what the water looks like when it goes back to the stream. So Dillard has a permit for 200,000 gallons per day. They've had that for about 30 years. Package plant's been working very well. It's well maintained. Right now, our plan depends a lot on this grant. The plan is to have a low flow pressure system collecting wastewater from primarily the most densely populated, or the timeshares in the apartments or condos, I should say. And all that will pump to one single pump station that will go to the wastewater plant near the burn pile on the backside of the city. From there, the treated wastewater would be pumped and go into a point that's been permitted by the state just beyond the lake on Mud Creek. Right now, the concept is for somewhere between 30,000 gallons per day and 40,000 gallons per day size. That would be something that could be expanded if the city decides to expand later. Trying to get all that wrapped into a total of $5 million, I think can be done. We're working toward that. As far as mandatory hook on, I've heard no such talk on the city. What I hear from the city is we're trying to get everything built into the project, which would hook everybody up and abandon the septic tanks within the scope of the contractor's work. Make it a little bit easier on everybody. As far as picking up every one of the timeshares and condos, I'm not sure. We're kind of on hold, waiting for the two. We don't want to spend any more of the city's money till we find out if this grant is here. There may be a couple of areas that we can't pick up initially. I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions. As far as $100 sewer bill, that's not the question. As far as, tap-on fees, that has not been decided. I know the city has told us that they want to keep it at or below what the county charges. If it's 100% grant, you'd have a lot of flexibility in not having much of a tap-on fee. Now, future development would pay impact or tap-on fees to put money back into the system where you'd have money to expand. That's basically how it's working on some of the high growth areas. Developer comes in, pays the cost of capacity that goes basically in a bank loan. When it's time to expand, you basically have the cash, we don't have to keep borrowing and spending in that way. Anything else you can think of, Russ? That's kind of fun.
Tell maybe a time frame for once we decide we're going with this, what will happen?
Okay, we've still got a lot of paperwork to do. We have to have this is a public hearing right here, public meeting. We still have to have an official public meeting. It's got to be advertised in 30 days or more later. You have the public meeting. Take minutes, turn that into EPD. They want to see what went on at the public meeting. We have the public hearing to go. We have an anti-degradation analysis we've got to conduct. Anti-degradation. We've already looked at all the options, but we've got to look at every option we've looked at and put that in a cost-effective analysis to prove that what the city has decided to do is the most cost-effective approach for the community. For instance, if we pump, we've already talked to the county, if we pump over to the county, you'd probably be looking at $100 a month sewer bill or more. But the most cost-effective, we know what you're doing now amongst all of got any day, we have the public hearing and the environment. So how the system is going to be finally designed and put together, and what method of construction are we going to take off in this case. CMAR has become the way to go. It's a collaborative effort between the city, the engineer, and the contractor, all putting their brains together to come up with the best product for the least amount of money. We've got about 3 of those underway right now. Those are a little bit larger in scope. I think the smallest we have right now is in Houston. It's about $31 million, but it's proved to be very, very cost effective. And I've never seen one yet that didn't result in a refund to the city at the end of this project.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Y'all
money-
heard
money
that, right?
money that
Yeah.
was not spent.
Yeah.
Because they have to, they're on cost plus 6%. They have to produce invoices for everything plus the 6% every month when they turn in. So you have a built-in contingency. So usually that contingency is money is not spent.
Once all this paperwork and governmental gugam is done,
We go out to bid for a CMAR contractor. We're looking at probably, we get the grant and the go-ahead from the city. It'll take the rest of the year to get those documents into EPD, get those approved, and then we can go out first of the year for CMAR. What you do is with the first bid, you go out for qualifications only. You see who's out there that would be interested in doing this project. Sky Valley is a little isolated. I mean, you're gonna have, some contractors that love to work up here. The ones that are around Metro Atlanta, they don't wanna do that. We have several of our communities that are isolated. We work in middle Georgia a lot, and we literally have to, beg some contractors to bid on some of that work. I don't think we'd be begging here. I think that we would get, I doubt if you'd have 10 bids, but I think you'd have 3 or 4. And then the city would select based on qualifications and capacity and track record. You would select that contractor and then you would ask him to bid the first price. And if you like that, if it looked good, you go with them. If not, you go to the next guy. But we'd be going out to bid first quarter of 2026. Construction wise, you'd probably be looking at this project. I think the biggest lead time would be on the package plant itself. Everything else would be pretty well easy to order and get in. I would say, what do you think the lead?
I'm not the lead time. To be completely done
Gotcha.
with everything operational, every pump station, every.
Yeah. Yeah, lead time on the package plant would be more than a year.
No, it's less than a year.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they could be working on the slab and all the facilities around where the package plant would go. And then, and once it's ordered, it can come in and set in. So probably in 27, somewhere in there.
Any questions for EMI? Come on up.
I'm Ken Walton, 517 Ridgepole Drive. What is the capacity of the system that you're currently designing, and how much of that would be used by the six
Good question.
existing infrastructure?
Good question. We're looking at 30 to 40,000 gallons a day.
It's a big difference, 30 to 40.
It is. There is. And there's, and the reason we're looking at those two is the options that the package plant companies are giving us is, if you, Russ, you might want to get it. You've been
Sure.
working with those quotes. There's, go ahead.
Mine runs. They offer them in different increments because they make them in packages.
Sure.
They're not gonna make it down to the finite thing.
Sure.
But anywhere from 30 to 40 range, if you get, they, around 22,000 gallons a day is what we have laid out the collection system to collect from existing infrastructure right now. So whatever you build, the rest would be for more existing customers to be tied on, or any future use of the capacity, whether that be development or not. But right now, we're between 20 and 25,000 gallons a day of the existing, and it's mostly, the condo.
Has there been given any thought to building a plant to meet just those needs?
Why would they do that? That'll go think for the future.
Not our parts, I mean, no. We always have some for future use, to build any plant for just the immediate capacity. What you do with the future capacity is up to the city, but we generally don't build plans to meet a finite. The economy of scale allows you to have adjustments made to
If it's
future.
30
The other issue with that too, excuse me interrupting, we have a staff of operators and we work on with a lot of water and wastewater operators. You never want to drive your car to 140, even though it's got it on the speedometer, but every operator we've ever worked with was, don't give us a plant and make us run it 100%. They want to run it somewhere around 75 or 80.
Okay, so if we're looking at 25,000 gallons and we're looking at building 30, there really wouldn't be a lot for a new development.
If you tied them all on, yeah. If you go up to 40,000, then there's room for additional.
Mhm.
But it could be anywhere between 40 and 45, depending on what compartments you add in and what the whole finite is. But as far as how the additional is used, that would be up to obviously the city and.
And we're always gonna want to be proactive for our future. I mean,
Yeah.
that's good management.
Yeah, a lot of times
Being
it costs you almost just as much
Yeah.
in these sizes to put in 1,000 gallon a day or a 40,000 gallon a day, there's not a lot of difference. You're gonna run all the same pipe, all the same slabs, the economy of scale. It's literally, it's just the finite number and ordering, now if you're going from, 700,000 gallons a day to 1,000,000 gallons a day, then it's a big difference. But in these ranges, it is not a big
Right.
price difference.
Thank you.
You don't
Ken.
wanna paint yourself in a
Thank
corner.
you, Ken.
One
Any
more
other
question.
Hurry, you got 2 minutes.
Okay. What happens if the bids exceed the $5 million?
We can't let them do that. We've got to, that's why we
You
want
gotta
to go,
cut down.
that's
scope.
why I want to go, yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's go down.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Miss Barbara, come on up. Come on down, as they say on the game show.
Hi, I'm Barbara Kovacker at 407 Pleasant Mountain Drive. And at one time we had the water system fixed, and then it came up that some of the materials that were used were really terrific and it cost us some more money. So my question is, you're gonna build this thing. Would you please have someone make sure we're not buying cheap that will fall apart and we'll be back to repairing it. And I know everybody's worried about the 5 million and this and that, but if we're gonna do it right. That's all I'm saying. And
Amen.
I hope EMI and you have somebody in there that's saying sometimes cheap is not the best way to go.
You can count on
Yeah.
that. And this is gonna be a, what we call a BABA project, Buy American, Build
But
American.
who is gonna, do you have a quality
Absolutely.
person?
Russ is one of them. We got 2 or 3 guys in
No,
there.
Russell says she's I
Yeah.
want somebody watching over this.
Thank you, Barbara. I see a hand. Is that you, Ted?
Yes.
Come on down, Ted.
This will be less than 2 minutes.
You promised, Ted. Okay, all right, take it. Come on, name and address.
My name is Ted Zemanowitz.
All right, if anybody can spell his last name, we'll give you $1.
And I reside at 1164 Alex Mountain. And I guess, there's been questions of prior redeems and so forth. My real question is has there been a feasibility study done? Normally, that's generally accepted engineering practice on major capital expenditures. I think this project, given the size of the city, is major.
Mhm.
Just a question.
That is all.
Feasibility study done.
Yeah, feasibility meaning, is this really affordable for Sky Valley? What are the rates gonna be? What are the connection fees gonna be? What's the
Service
operation,
area,
O&M cost gonna be, that sort of thing? And all that will come out in the DDR, the design development report, and all these documents. Absolutely. Part of it, absolutely.
Well, that-
And that will be done, and if the grant comes through, we will move forward with all those documents, including feasibility analysis.
Thank you,
Part of
Ted.
it, absolutely.
less than 2 minutes.
You got it, Ted. Thank you so much. Anybody else have a question? Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, my name is Benita Cotton Orr, and I'm at 589 Alpine Drive, and I have a question about the needs assessment. I believe that we need to have a needs assessment for this project. I understand that you've done an economic feasibility study, but that's very different from a needs assessment. And as somebody who has a condo as well that has no problems, I believe saying that we don't have a mandate yet doesn't quite answer our questions. And I would like to know whether you plan to do a needs assessment.
Well, we haven't been authorized to do so. Like I said, we've been, this is our 4th trip, if you will, to Sky Valley in the last 26 years. And we're kind of driven by what the city mayor and council wish us to do. We need a sewer system, we have issues, and we kind of go by what the mayor and council,
We all know that the septic systems in the area that we're talking about are 50 to 55 on the whole years old. And we have had a lot of septic systems that have been failing. In fact, recently we had a whole condo unit whose system went kahooey, and they had sewage come up and be on the ground. So they had to go through with that. We've also had a condo fairly recently whose septic field failed. They came out to do a new septic field. There was no room. So the health department quickly said, well, we will have to condemn your condo. Luckily, her neighbor said, you can build your septic system on my property. Otherwise, she would have had a condemnation. So we know, being as proactive as we can and looking at all the numerous studies that have been done since 1999, they're all saying it's coming. So we want to be proactive, and we wanted to do it in such a way as with grant funds, so that it didn't cost us as the taxpayers, especially the taxpayers that wouldn't be involved in this, to get this done. So that's where we're going with this. We know in the future it's coming. We also know by the EPD study that we have E. coli increasing amounts in our streams. They say they being scientists, of course, they hedge their bets on how this E. coli is getting into our system. They say it's through livestock. Well, how much could be livestock, wild animals, or septic system? Well, do we have livestock here in Sky Valley? Not that I'm aware of, although there are some people that probably can be categorized as livestock, but excuse me. Yeah, I am. I'm talking about you again. Anyway, we know we've got E. coli, and we know, like I say, these systems are 50 to 55 years old. We have soil conditions where it's sand and rocks. It's gonna happen. So we want to be proactive and not just say all of a sudden, well, it's happened now, and well, we've got 4 buildings over here condemned. Oh, well, that's no big deal. It is a big deal. So a lot of the councils before us, didn't want to take care of it because, as you can see, it's a lot of work. And I know it's a lot of change, and some of our councils could not get grants because they were embroiled in an SDS process, which is a state thing where they couldn't all agree as to who was providing services to our city. So therefore, they could not get grants. So their hands were tied. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. Thank you, Ms. Cotton, Ms. Orr. Anybody else have a question?
I wasn't done, but thank you.
Oh, go ahead,
Okay.
one more. You got time. You want more.
Well, thank you.
I would also like to know, how and what we have paid EMI so far since the city has not drawn down any of the grants. And, further, after seeing a FOIA, revelation, on Facebook this morning, that Mayor Style has been emailing EMI to ask for questions ask for answers to questions that have been posed to the ARC questioning the grant. I would like to know whether you have personally paid EMI for the time with those questions that you asked EMI on behalf of yourself and several other candidates in the room.
Okay, thank you. We'll be glad to
Thank
answer
you.
that. Jason, would you take care of what we have already appropriated funds we've given to EMI, which is part of the process, y'all. If we get the grant, then all those funds were taken out of the grant. That's just the way the system works.
I would say, I'd have to pull those numbers, but I would say between $55,000 and $60,000 since 2021. Now, some of that is the red line inventory. Some of that is some other things they've done, but I would say I could get that numbers when I get back to the office if need to, but again, that would be reimbursable if the city ever starts drawing. If the project ever happens, it's just lost funds.
Yeah.
And
if we take any of their time, of course, we get billed for it.
as Mr. Lewis said, we really haven't been using them at all because, I mean, obviously, they're in the business to do consulting work, and until we know more, we just haven't really done anything with them. I hate to repeat that we're on hold, but this project is on hold until you know about the grants. But I could give you some specifics, get back to the office, I could run those reports, but I would guesstimate.
Okay. Anybody else in here with a question for EMI? We have one online. Sharon, what is the question?
Dale, go ahead, please.
So, yeah, there's a lot of talk about, I'm reading all the reports about failing, 200 plus or minus failing, FAILING, failing septic systems in Sky Valley. Apparently, maybe there's a difference between something that's failing and something that has failed. The mayor described a situation, I would call it a failed septic system. However, it was almost like it was brought back by resuscitation because of a cooperative neighbor. But everyone's looking for, well, no systems have failed. No systems have failed. And I just wonder, in my world, the fact that we have all of these failing systems and we have last minute fixes, in my world, they call it a near miss. And when you have a near miss in risk management, that's a warning. That says you need to do something because you may not catch the next one. So the difference between failing and failed, is there a difference?
Thank you, Gail. Did you need to say anything else or ask another question?
Well, no, that was my question. Is there a
Okay.
difference?
I don't know. You want to take that, Mr. Sewer?
I guess failing is something that's beginning to have issues, and failed has issues.
Yeah. Both need to be addressed, whether it's failed or failing, as far as I'm concerned, you have to address both. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yes, sir. Mr. Fitzgerald, come on down.
I really gonna say, I'm Henry Fitzgerald on 81 Cedar Lane. Wasn't gonna say anything, but I think that might be helpful. There's been some questions about EMI, whether they're getting paid or not getting paid enough for what they're doing. I'll just have to vouch for EMI at this point. I have a personal family member, happens to be a sister, that has been in this business for 30 years. She actually worked with Mr. Hood for 20 years. He was her mentor. She writes grants, and she has worked with over 200 projects with this gentleman over the last 20 years. I called her up and I heard that Mr. Wood was involved with this and said, "Tell me something about EMI." She says, "Henry, there is no person, no company in the entire Southeast that knows more than this gentleman right here." So if you have questions about it, I'm sure you'd be glad to answer any questions you have. But from her experience writing grants for most of the smaller communities in Georgia, this is the gentleman that has worked with every one of them. He helps get the grants approved. They work through all the pre-processing things that go on. I mean, all of these things are not black and white until they get to certain stages in the process. But all I can vouch for is that EMI is the most qualified company in the Southeast that does this kind of work. They put projects in Helen, in Hiawassee, in Hopkins, in Auburn, and most every little part of Georgia where I used to live. So if anybody has concerns or questions about their viability and their experience, I don't think you're going to find a more qualified company that can do this kind of evaluation on what we need. Now, whether the need is where everybody thinks it is, or where it's not where they think it is, these are the people that should be able to tell us the answers to those questions. So just wanted to kind of put that out.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, are we ready for our next presenter? Oh, yes, ma'am.
Gail Greenfelder, 19 Erie Lane. We have heard, that, as Mr. Hackney said, that we do have a, for instance, package that we are going to have hookup fees of 3,000 to even 10,000. And I've also heard about the special sewer district that's going to happen because most of the people sitting in this room are not affected whatsoever. Most of the voters are not affected whatsoever. About 50% of the people, and probably more, are people that can't vote. So our fate, because I'm one of them in a condominium, is in your hands. And if we haven't done a need assessment in the feasibility study, it's, have we not put the cart before the horse? That's all I'm saying. And I'm not here to debate about any of the things, which I don't agree with some of the things that have been said about where's E. coli coming from, because I happen to have gone to the Raven County Health Department and had a meeting with James Reese, and he said, we have never, sorry to contradict you, Holly, we've never condemned or even threatened to condemn anything. He said, that's not how we operate. We're here to help people. So we have an HOA with Valley View. We have the timeshares, both private HOAs. And if we're basing this whole sewer thing on those two entities, why have we, and I asked one of our experts on the council about sewer, whether have those two entities, have they gone on their own and tried to figure out what else can we do before we obligate the city? And this bad neighbor, me, I do not want a mandatory hookup. And you mentioned mandatory, you said you've never heard of anything about any mandatory hookups, Mr. Hood, you just said that. Well, we've heard it is gonna be mandatory. We get this little drawing, an updated drawing about you people are gonna be on it, and Mr. Hackney is one of my neighbors. We organize ourselves, and I see one of our board members for Scioto. We've kept our septic systems in order. They can last for hundreds of years if you keep them in order. And it's all around the country, things that have been installed in the 1800s. I don't want to be told that I have to hook up to the sewer system when I have a functioning septic. Because I can tell you, many of you people that live in the mountains, this is not gonna affect you.
Thank you, Gil. That's your 2 minutes. Do you need to respond?
No, let her speak.
Do you have anything else you want to say?
Well, you interrupted me, and I've got a lot to say, but. Well.
Go ahead.
So you that live in the mountains and above whatever, and you've all seen that latest schematic, how would you like it if you were told you are such a bad neighbor because you don't want to help your neighbor? Well, I want you to be a good neighbor and help me as a neighbor, because I do not want to be made to pay for all of this. And I have talked to sewer experts. We have one living, Fred Buchanan is an expert. He ran the Chipley, Florida plant. And he told Mr. I won't mention the person's name, somebody on the council. He said, what you're proposing is a nightmare. He said, you have no idea. I was a sewer guy. He said, I was a crisis manager. That's what he is, a crisis manager, because there's always problems. Somebody puts a diaper down that sewer system, gets into a grinder. It's a nightmare. And if anybody wants to see, because I'm not an expert in this, so I'm just asking questions. Is this gonna cost me a lot of money? For what? For a neighbor who hasn't taken care of their septic system. Seriously, it's so wrong for me to have to do that. So again, the question, mandatory. You said you haven't heard, sir, anything about any mandatory hookups. Holly, I asked you this question. Are we gonna be made to do it? So we have to pay, it's gonna be on the backs of us to pay for those two private HOAs. And I know there's a problem, but there's no condemnation whatsoever. And I've heard that one of the council members said, well, I'm not on their board. How would I know if Valley View and the timeshares looked at other alternatives? This is wrong. They should be made to exhaust every possible thing before they obligate the city. And Mr. Buchanan told me, again, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into with these grinder systems. No idea. So at any rate, I'm finished.
Thank you. We have our city attorney here. Mr. Kidd, do you want to talk about the state laws as far as what we're talking about at this case?
The only thing I wanted to address is whether it is legal, whether you can make somebody, whether mandatory to tie into the sewer system. There is a state regulation that says, yes, if someone lives within 200 feet of a sewer line, you have authority to make them tie into it. You don't have to, but you can, as a city, make them do that.
Okay.
The city of Augusta, I know about a decade ago, went through this issue. It obviously raised a stake in the community down there. But so that's kind of near where I live, and that was an issue there. But yeah, there is state law on that. If you live within 200 feet of the sewer line, you can authorize basically a mandate to tie into that sewer line.
So is the answer yes, you're gonna make me do it? Is that it?
The answer is, I don't know yet. We have to see what's going on. We have so many unanswered questions, but we wanted to to get questions from you all.
But that's a
If,
big
if
one.
we do have to mandate that, we will work, we'll have payment plans. I mean, you can put it on a 10-year plan. We're not going to make you, that's my answer to you.
Yeah, well, that's
Thank
pretty
you.
sad.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. Yes, yes, sir, come on up.
My name is Garnett Lawrence. I live at 70 Spyglass Circle. So I'm right in the heart of this plan. We have 5 units in there. Units that are both top and bottom, so they're a little bit different than many. We have a septic system that, according to the 2 neighbors on either side of me, that have been there for over 20 years and never had a problem. As time has it, it actually was supposed to be inspected and pumped this week, but it got delayed until next week. We service it regularly. We've never had an issue. The only issue we've ever had, I understand, is when Sky Valley and their wisdom put Berkshire Lane over a part of the drain field. I have a couple of questions. According to your map, basically it's gonna go, and from our porch to where it drops off to Berkshire is about 12, 15 feet. So your map is basically gonna come about arm's length away from where we live. Your piping. It's gonna go down the back of our property, across the southern end of our property, back up in front of our property, and up the driveway is what it appears on the map. The part that comes in front of our property, it goes up the driveway, then dead ends. It's somewhat like the bridge to nowhere. The back of our property is going to go through our convergence line to our septic system. It's going to go through our water lines. When it comes around and circles to the front, it's going to go through our power lines, our internet lines, service lines. It's going to tear up our parking pad and cut a spot across our driveway that we use to enter and exit our unit. So my question is, what does Sky Valley have in plan to help the people whose lives are going to be totally disrupted and whose units are going to be somewhat uninhabitable? There is 3 families that live there full time, 2 of whom have children under a year old. So that's my first question. Now, I may take more than 2 minutes, and my apologies if I do.
That's okay.
But I pay enough taxes to take it. So what is your plan for us having our lives disrupted while y'all have dirt, machinery, strangers, mud? Anybody who's driven from Otto to Clayton knows how quickly this drilling goes, the pipe laying gets. The second thing is, when is the last time, I'm only 76, some of y'all are a little bit older perhaps. Maybe y'all have a better memory. When's the last time a government mandated and managed project finished on time and at or under budget? My understanding from doing some research on Mr. Google is that the fluid that's going to be dumped into Mud Creek often after it leaves the power plant has viruses, bacteria, protozoa, parasites. So my suggestion to anybody who likes the path that goes down Mud Creek, rubber boots, gloves, and a mask might be a wise investment.
You want to take that?
So have y'all, and the second part of that is, if you have a breakage, because right at the end of ours is a pump station. If you have a breakage, how is that handled? How's the hazmat of it handled? Whether it's the in-go or the out-go, either one. We've had multiple earthquakes in South Carolina and Western North Carolina. We've had floods here. We've had hurricanes close by. So if something happens, what is the plan to take care of that? My first question was to you, what are you going to do when our lives are disrupted?
Wait, what?
When our lives are disrupted.
Okay, I'm gonna let them, the experts, answer it and we'll get back.
Okay.
Go ahead.
For one thing, those are not final plans by any means, they're schematic plans, and nothing's been surveyed in. When they survey and do a design survey, they're gonna pick up power lines and other facilities and make sure those are missed. There's no intent to cross those and disrupt your lives at all. That is a very schematic plan. That's what, every project starts out with a very preliminary plan that's basically done like that, desktop. Then it evolves, once things are surveyed, a lot of those things will change. I mean, most of these things will change, but we do avoid, we're not gonna cut right through anything, like a power line or existing water line or anything like that. As far as the periodic breakages, there will be an action plan to, address those. Anything can break. I don't know about earthquakes, but, I think that the staff here is very able to, address any kind of breakage in the future.
My last question.
How about the pollution that he's
Well,
referring to into our
EPD,
creeks?
I don't know about all those constituents going into the creek. EPD is they have a very stringent, permit requirement. You don't have the permit in hand, but, has a treat to a very almost drinkable water quality. I don't see viruses or, there's disinfection at the end of the plant. I don't see any of those things you're talking about.
Household chemicals, can they be filtered out?
Some can, some can't.
All right, I do have, if I may, two other questions. My understanding is that there's some property, I may be premature, but there's some property from the Merle Trust that is either gonna be donated or leased at a very low lease to the city for them to use for some of this project. Is that
They're
correct?
selling us the property, yes.
And what kind of price?
We haven't decided that yet, but he's gonna give us a good deal because he's very much wanting to be part of our community.
About 2 months ago, I was told actually by Mr. Streetman that the proposal that was issued during your state of the city address, that the density that was proposed is well above what it's currently zoned for.
He'll be dealing with, he'll talk
That's
about
fine.
that in just a minute, okay?
My understanding from Mr. Streetman is that means that would need to be variances approved. My hope is that this pricing, leasing, or donation is not the interest that we're gonna have to pay to get a variance approved.
It is not. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Did we answer all your questions? Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Carrie Sue Beasley. I live at 539 Overlook. I appreciate everybody being here and I appreciate the whole community showing up. I think it's important that we're all here. I was wondering if you could speak to disabling septic tanks. So my understanding is the cost associated with that. My understanding is that in order to, once you are attached to sewer, that the septic tanks have to either be filled in or they have to have grinder pumps inserted into them, and then they're hooked up to sewer. If the grinder pumps are inserted into them, that's the cost of the homeowner to maintain that. Or are you gonna disable all the tanks? Both of those, according to the septic company, cost about $4,000 each. So I don't know how many more hookups we're talking about, 150 to 220-ish. So that's $500,000 to $1 million. Is that gonna come out of the $5 million grant? That's almost 20% of the grant.
Ms. Beasley, that's a great question, and the abandonment process of the septic systems that we're talking to is built in the price, cost is built into the grants, but I will let these gentlemen, thank you for that question, I'll let them talk about it.
Yeah, most of our projects like this, the contractor that's building the project does do the septic tank abandonment, the pump out and then filling with earth. I'm not seeing any prices like that on any of the projects. But that is the plan to abandon them.
And what is
They
the
won't-
process, what is that process, Jerry, as far as what has to be done when we're talking about abandonment of the septic systems?
Well, typically, you'll pump all the waste out of the tanks. You'll hook the building onto the sewer, and then that tank will be filled with gravel and or dirt. That's what we've seen.
But that's part of the costs that come out of the grant, correct? Okay, thank you, Ms. Beasley. Anybody else?
Jim Hickman, I think, had a question.
Okay.
I believe he's here.
Did you have a question? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on up.
Richard Adams, 1137 Alex Mountain Drive. All the discussion so far has been about construction cost. What about operating cost? Is that going to be borne by only the people that are utilizing the sewer, or we all have to participate?
That's a great question. And Mr. Streetman, you want to answer that or you want me to, as far as his question?
The operator should operate where the people that are utilizing them will pay for fine.
That'll
Well, I
come-
think that's.
Yeah,
should-
that is the way,
should is the
that is the way it will be, yes, just like the water system is funded by the users, the sewer plant would be funded by the users.
So even if they don't have a hookup fee, there will be a monthly.
Yeah, they
bill
would have to pay us, so,
Sewer
yes.
district.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Based on their water usage, is that kind of how that usually works?
Is that how it's usually done, gentlemen? Okay, yes. Thank you, Mr. Adams. Thank you. Okay. All right. I'm now going to turn it over to Mr. Harrison Merrill Jr. Take it away.
Thank you. Originally got a call from Jason and the mayor yesterday to come up and wanted to hear about the sewer and also get a chance to talk to everyone. But they told me I was coming up to play a round of golf, and I got up here and it changed a little bit. But great to see some familiar faces and great to see some new faces. And appreciate y'all giving me a couple minutes to talk and mainly to answer questions. I'm hearing a lot of from our team and just around, seems like there's a lot of disinformation out there. And wanted a chance everyone could ask questions directly, so I could answer them for everyone. Real quick, just on the sewer piece, separate from us, I know development can always be a polarizing thing. People can be for it, against it for different reasons. Totally understand. On the sewer, what the city's doing, just hearing and listening, separate from any development we'd be doing, it's a great opportunity. I've never seen one where a city's been able to use just grant money and no other funds to be able to deliver a sewer system. A sewer system's always going to be more environmentally friendly. Septics, they're there. I totally get it, not wanting to pay more, anything else, but those are the most environmentally unfriendly systems. Package plants are much better, much more cost effective over time. The pain's always up front sometimes, but over time, they're going to be more cost effective. A lot of our we would beg to have something where we could get on a sewer system, because it really is a great opportunity, whether it affects you directly or you're in the community of knowing the environment's being protected, knowing you're not going to have issues down the line. I kind of outside my scope, but just wanted to mention that as we see it a lot and seeing the hard work that they've done and talking about grants to cover the whole system. It's really been something amazing, Jason, that you and the whole team have done. But back to Merrill Trust, wanted to give you a quick overview on Merrill Trust and what we are, what we do, and our history in Sky Valley. Merrill Trust, it's a family owned and operated organization. We've been around 50 years. We focus on large master plan communities all around the country, but particularly in the Southeast, Southwest. Do a lot in Arizona, a lot in Utah, a lot in most of it now in the Georgia area, North Carolina, some in Florida. And we kind of have three buckets. We have the traditional residential neighborhoods. We have the mixed use communities. And we've gone where it used to be large mixed use communities were the only way to have mixed use, to have commercial, to have some retail. And recently with the new urbanism and honestly cost too being driven up, there's what we're really trying to do other place, not necessarily here, it'll affect it too, but really try to bring that sense of place and that community where you're not having to drive to go to different stores. You're not having to drive 10 minutes to go to the grocery or to get a cup of coffee. We're trying to integrate those into the communities. And then our other one is legacy projects. They're the ones we start from the beginning to end, more of the resort developments that we have several around. Those are the ones that take a long time to develop, a lot more planning in them. And Sky Valley is such a beautiful place. It kind of fits in. It's a smaller one on the mixed use side, but also what we've always considered a legacy project. Here at Sky Valley, I'm sure most of y'all have been aware that the company purchased the property in early 2000s. We initially spent a lot of money on the renovation of the golf course and started the construction of the clubhouse. Unfortunately, in 2008, the financial crisis hit. And we were unable to extend the construction loan with the bank and lost the clubhouse and the golf course. I know over time the HOA has taken that over. And every time I come out and see the golf course, such a beautiful place up here. The weather's incredible. But in 2008, we kind of just waited. Kind of the market in the mountains altogether was just a very difficult market. And so we held on to the remaining property we had. We always loved the area. We have other developments a little further away, but love the area, being so close to Atlanta, but just such a different feel. And then in about 2000, I think it was 21, we approached the mayor and council of kind of what is the vision for Sky Valley? What is going on? At the time, we actually had someone, a ski group that was very interested and brought that, found out really quick that wasn't what the citizens and the council were interested in. But we kept those conversations going of what is the vision for Sky Valley? What is our vision? What is the city's vision? What is the citizens' vision? And I know several surveys were sent out over the last several years to get feedback. That's been super helpful for us for what we like to put in these developments and what the citizens wanted, what the city wanted. And that's helped us. About a year and a half ago, we started working with Lou Oliver, the architect and land planner, one of the best, I think, in the country. If y'all are familiar with Serenbe outside of Atlanta, Trilith, heavily involved in those. And he's all about creating a sense of place where you're building smaller footprint homes, but making it much more of a community where you're factoring in the green space, open space, pocket parks, and everything within the development, as well as the surrounding area. And you start with the highest density in the village core, where you'll have some of the commercial, where you'll have some of the retail place you can get coffee, a restaurant. Then you'll have kind of the multifamily townhomes in that village core, and then it spreads out to your single family. And so I'm not sure how many of y'all have seen the conceptual plan very early on, but we've kind of focused on that village core. What can that be? What can that look like as far as the concepts? I think there's a total in the phase one of about 75 to 85 units in there, but that is basically the old ski lodge, and up that mountain would be phase one in that kind of village core piece. But we're very excited about the opportunity for our company. We're in a place, we have about 20 active developments going on. Sky Valley's one we'd love to be a part of. We'd love to create something special here. We're in the very early stages, but thought it was a good time to come up, answer any questions, but also give everyone kind of an overview of what we're looking at, and love to receive some feedback.
I saw a hand go up there. Yes, Lou, come on. You get to come down twice.
Still me. So I have a question for you. It seems that most of what you're offering to build is not within our ordinances. You know, it's basically your urbanism village. If I understand it, it's like townhomes. They're built side by side with no separation in between, most of them. And also the hotel, things that you mentioned before, a spa, those are commercial. So what is the plan? That we would vote all of that in and change our ordinances?
No, anything we look at would be in the ordinance. There's not going to be a hotel. There's going to be hospitality, more like cottages, kind of not like a vertical hotel as you'd see. But no, we fit in the ordinances. There would be places we'd be looking potentially. I don't know. Again, we're early on for variances as far as how does it fit together in that core. But no, a vast majority would be within kind of the regulations of the city. Just in some of the stuff, whether it's setbacks or other things, there may or may not be. Our goal is not to have any variances. Normally in something like this, there are a couple that are needed. But yes, our goal would be to fit within the zoning destination or zoning ordinance that we currently have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Luke.
Yeah.
I see a hand in the back there. Michelle, is that you? All right, come on down.
I wanna call you Mr. Merle, but you're so young, so.
Harrison, Junior, whatever you
Call
want.
Harrison, That's okay.
Absolutely.
I've got two questions. So the first has to do with your commercial stuff.
Mhm.
Do you live in Sky Valley?
No, I don't.
Okay. Are you aware of the very few businesses that are around here, how difficult it is to get and retain staffing for just the small little businesses that are here right now? Do you have any idea?
Yes, I trust me. Well, it's hard in a lot of places, but totally understanding. When we say commercial, there's a very small amount of commercial that we're looking at here for not the staffing reason, is because the commercial goes based on, okay, where are the rooftops, who's coming to it. So we're looking, when I say commercial, we're talking about like a coffee shop, civic space, probably some kind of restaurant, and maybe a couple mom and pop stores in there, depending on what makes sense.
That's a lot, and that's a lot of steps.
Mhm.
I don't know where you think these people are going to come from, but I can tell you that the very small ones that are here right now are having a difficult time keeping people, getting people. And I don't know what your plan would be for that, but that's neither here nor there. My second question is, if the development is not done, and the sewer is not done, what are your future plans for the ski lodge? And I'm asking, you can tell me to mind my own business, it's your land. But I think everyone wants to know what would be your plans for the ski lodge?
Yeah, so to be very honest, we'd love to do the development, but if it was something honestly, the city didn't want, or it didn't work for whatever reason, we would look to sell it to someone else that would come in and be able to do whatever it's zoned for at the time, which realistically is gonna be a residential developer building single family.
Is that what it's zoned for right now, is?
No, it's zoned.
Mixed use. Resort and mixed use.
Yeah.
So you would say rezone of the residential?
No, they would keep the mixed use, they would just start with the single family homes instead of the village core.
That's all I have.
Go Bills, y'all are doing terrific.
And we've had discussions, because we all love the old lodge and it means a lot to us. So we've had discussions with Harrison about what we want to do if he comes in and develops that land. And I think he has talked about, he understands how we love the old lodge, and that we would take iconic pieces out of the old lodge and build them into areas in the new town center, whether it's take the fireplace out or the bear pole or whatever, and incorporate it into the new development. But that was a great question. Thank you, Michelle.
If you sell that lodge, you're not talking about the land behind the lodge, right? You're just talking about parking lot and the lodge.
We would, if we didn't do the development or moving forward, we would sell
You would sell
all of it,
everything.
yeah, together. But the lodge is something we probably had more discussions between the city and the
Correct.
architect and the land planner, because a lot of different opinions there. Some people love it, some people want to get rid of it, but there's so much history in Sky Valley, and such neat history, especially for Georgia and North Georgia and what it's been, is the idea is how do we keep a compounding, and it's super early on. So again, we're still working through it, but can the area, the middle area with the beautiful fire pit, the fireplace and the big poles, is there a way to keep that as the civic space, the gathering space, and have everything around it? Or is it better to keep components and have it where it can be fit throughout? But that's still open for discussion, but is very important, I know, to the city. But also it's, like I said, the history is so great. We want to have that as a theme throughout whatever ends up coming.
But if you sold it. then you do it.
If we sold it, it would be out of our hands. at that
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
My name is Jim Phelps. I live at 29 Demarest Lane. Just to set the record straight, Here's a letter from the Merrill Trust dated June the 6th of this year to Mayor Steinhardt. It's signed by Harrison Merrill. I don't know if it's senior or junior, but it's from the Merrill Trust. We understand that the city is embarking on a project to provide sanitary sewer collection and treatment system. We're supportive of that effort. And conditioned upon the city completing the sewer system, we are committed to developing a retail center in Sky Valley. This project would include approximately 30,000. They've left off the words square feet. I assume they're referring to square feet. 30,000, I'll insert square feet. Since it's not here, I don't know what it's like if we're talking. 30,000 square feet of retail space and involve a capital investment of about $3.5 million. 30,000 square feet, commercial retail. This project would also create an estimated 30 jobs for the community. That's not what Mr. Merrill just said. He's committed to it in writing, and he's committed to it in support of the ARC $2 million grant, which is extended strictly for commercial development. That's the whole. The $3 million was residential. The $2 million is commercial. He's telling everybody that he's going to do this. Now, that's fine, but don't get up here and say it's mom and pop. They've said 30 jobs, so they must have some clue as to what kinds of retail establishments they're talking about. Otherwise, how could they possibly estimate the number of jobs?
Thank you,
That's all I
sir.
got, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Can I answer that?
Yes, sir.
When you have, letter was from us, and when you have sewer stuff that, yes, you've got to meet certain criteria for it, we do expect to have 30,000 square feet. They sound like a lot. Is that going to end up be what happens? I don't know the exact amount, but it would be great if something could withstand 30,000 square feet. I don't know if you'll get that much with the rooftops here, but it's no different than what I said. We're early in the conceptual plan. We're looking at it. We want some type of commercial piece. We think that's important. And again, it's important that the ARC or anyone else knows that there's future opportunities too, in order to get a lot of these grants that are out there.
Wait a minute,
This is not an aspirational.
It's not we are not required to do any of that in the letter from ARC.
Jason, you wanted to talk about when we applied for the grant and how this all came about? This letter, we did ask him to write a letter, yes.
Well,
yes.
Madam Mayor, the ARC, as I mentioned early on, as Mr. Phelps said, as I mentioned early on, the intent of that grant is commercial job creation. Talking with the ARC, Annika, I can't think of her last name, but she said that to have a strong application, it looks good to the ARC to have letters of commitment to support the grant. Therefore, we were instructed to ask Mr. Merrill to write the letter. So again, that was based on what was indicated to city from ARC. So again,
And the ARC does not, that letter does not commit us to have that go forward.
What was conveyed to me, because I asked the question of that, because the question was asked to the city, what happens to that $2 million if commercials never develop? Does that have to be paid back? The answer is no. That the intent of that grant is to create the opportunity for commercial, because they understand that it may be 2 years, 5 years, 20 years, but if the sewer's there, then that may spur commercial development. But again, that was part of what was asked of us by ARC to help strengthen the grant.
Thank you. All right.
You go.
No, I read. Go on.
Bill Coleman, 109 Cedar Lane.
You scared me a while ago with 2 words. City, town center. Well, that's 3 words, town center. I would say, if we took a vote here on why we moved to Sky Valley or why we live here,
Let's take a look.
is to scratch off the town and just have our center of existence. And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, thank you, Bill. I hope you all remember that the council, we're citizens here and we love this city, or else we wouldn't be living here. And also we would not be giving all of our time for the big salaries that we get for being on the council. That is for sure. So we love this too. And we did an extensive survey several years ago, and I talk to people every day, and I try to keep a list of what people say to me that they want. And I get many people who say, we love it quiet, we love it safe, we love it beautiful, but wouldn't it be nice to have just a little corner cafe that we could walk to, that we could have walking paths and golf cart paths, that we could just go have a cup of coffee or eat a sandwich, or we would love to not have to go all the way to Clayton to get something to eat. We also have seen the new restaurant here. Is it Maglioki? Am I saying that right? It's packed every day. So obviously people are interested in having some sort of places that we can go to in our area. I think it would be great myself, but other people have said that to me. So that's where that came from. No, do we want a Walmart or a Family Dollar store? Heck no, we do not. We just want something. This city loves community, and I love the heart of the city, and I appreciate everything you all are saying today, and we're taking it in. But we have a community, and we love to come together and enjoy each other's company. It's a wonderful, we have a big heart in this city. We do. So that's where this all comes. Do we want, a Sears robot that, oh, I'm dating myself. They are not even around anymore. Whatever. You all get the idea. Yeah. Yes.
And real quick to the mayor's point and to your question, it's if commercial's not wanted, it's a lot easier to build just residential. Our understanding was that was something that was wanted, of having something where you can come, a restaurant, a deli, little retail stores. But if not, if that's something the citizens don't want, or a smaller piece, we're very open to that. I can tell you it's a lot easier for us if it's just residential. What the commercial does is give it that sense of place. So whether that sizing is, and 30,000 square feet, just to give you all, I assume the lodge is probably somewhere close to 30,000 square feet of space. But if it's smaller, we're very flexible with that. We'd love y'all's input, because like I said, it really is, residential is easier, so we could do less, but that's where we need the input, but very flexible at this point.
Yeah.
To your point.
Wait a minute. Ms. Grove?
Can I just
Yes,
say?
yes.
Debbie Grove, 143 Sun Valley Circle, Valley View condominiums. I want to ask, what impact does the sewers coming have to do with the country club? What is the impact? I mean, they obviously have septic systems. What is the cost for them? Will it be more, or will it be averaged out? We haven't heard anything about the price they will pay for connections.
Right. Do you want to respond to that in any way?
Well, I know one of our partners worked with them a few years ago. They put in that pump station on the country club, and they're pumped off to an off-site
reception area. Whatever you want to call it.
drain field. I don't know the condition of that. I think that'd be an option for them, and I don't even know if they own that site. I don't have a clue. I don't know.
Maryland's it.
Okay.
Are you talking about the club or the ski lodge?
The country club, new golf course.
Yeah, we don't own that.
Oh, you own the place, the drain fields right around here, right?
Of the drain fields, I thought you were talking about.
Yeah, and the
what would be
pumping system, and it pumps it up here, is that
Where
correct?
the pumping system's gonna go, yes, we own that, but we've talked about a long-term lease originally and then talked about a sale now for that space.
I guess they'd have the option to get on the sewer or not for a while anyway.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I don't know. I don't think that's been determined.
Because Valley View has several pump stations and drain fields that are on the golf course, and we own that one. It would be the best interest to have, if you're using the golf course and you are spending money to play golf, that we need to have help for Valley View, 48 units, and the cost for that. And it would seem that the cost should be also incurred at the country club. I'm a member, but there should be some help along that line.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. And we don't have the answer to that. You know, this is still the beginning of all of this. Please don't go out of here and say everything's already decided, because it's not. That's why we're having this meeting. Mr. Fitzgerald, who is the president of the country club, so take it away.
Well, I can tell you one thing, I don't have the answer to that question.
There you go.
Since this has been come out and we've been having a lot of discussion about it, I have asked several of our, Steve Mason, I don't know if Steve's here, Jack, who's on our board, to help us evaluate how all of this impacts the country club. In my opinion, the country club holds a lot of cards in their hands because we're the crown jewel of this community. So we would have a big interest in trying to work out something, but we don't incur any costs. Now, whether that can be done or not, I don't know yet. I know that the country club's septics go back behind the maintenance building now, and they're overflooding all the time. I talked to Steve this past week and asked him directly, do we need this sewer system in your opinion? And his answer was affirmative, yes. So we're having problems continually with our septic systems at the club homes. Not only about the system, but the leach fields. It now is a potential hazard for our maintenance people that are working in the maintenance barn there because the septic is overflowing continually there. Our workers are working in that atmosphere and it's not good for them. Now, the condos are situated, a lot of their septics come all the way across the road and empty in the same area. I don't know, is that the condo's responsibility for fixing that? Is it the city's responsibility? It's not the club's responsibility to fix anything that the timeshares did. So while I don't have an answer, I can tell you that we're trying to find how the current septic system and the current failures that we have in that and the pollution that we're having on number 18, we're having on several other, on number 14, we're having on behind the maintenance building. Not discounting the number of geese that we have pooping in the 18 cold walls. And they may, you know, we can take care of those with a few shots and a couple of nights. The existing septic tanks, I do not have the answer to that.
Mr. Fitzgerald, we'll need to take that last part off the video.
We'll do it late at night. But I'm just saying, as far as the clubs right now, we've been kind of neutral at this point with everything because I don't have the answers. That's why we're here today listening. That's why we're listening to our neighbors, our friends, getting all the compliments. But I do feel like that whatever development happens around here, if it wants to be tied in and have the country clubs as one of the main focus and drivers of why people would move up here, I think there would be some deals that we can make. Okay, that's all I know.
Can I just say that our septic tanks are on hole 11 and 17?
That's why, that's one of the reasons why I say.
11 and 17 is where they're. Are we?
Okay,
But
It's very helpful.
yeah, this is helpful, thank
We
you.
need help with the cost.
Motion.
And it would be so nice to have some country club help us,
Yeah.
because we don't want to see people walking through or riding their car through the sewer.
Thank you, Mr. Piper, I saw your hand.
Very
Joe Piper, 1999 Some of you may know me. Who am I working for? My question goes back to Harrison. You answered part of it a few minutes ago. You obviously said it depends upon what the residents want, commercial, single family, residential, multifamily. There's a lot of gibberish going back and forth on social media. And I'd like to know, just personally, I've owned property here for over 20 years. I see in some cases, you're gonna build 50 units, 80 units, 200 units. I mean, it's all over the place. Can you give a better idea if the community decides that they wanna go with residential or a combination residential commercial, what that number is?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've conceptually laid out the first phase where we focused and the second phase. First phase is kind of the ski lodge and that whole slope. The second phase is kind of to the left where we were talking about where the wastewater treatment plant would go. The first phase, you're looking at, right now, I think it's programmed at 82, but somewhere probably between 75 and 90 units. The second phase where you have, I think it's got one of the multifamily pieces on it, and the single family, I think you're at 106, but somewhere right around there. So between the two, you're probably around 175 for kind of the main whole area, phase one being kind of that 75 to 85.
And again, the ballpark of the timeframes as well.
So you're looking kind of best case scenario, if we move forward, you're probably moving dirt in about a year. First homes are being built in about 2 years. And that whole phase, depending on absorption, you're probably talking, I'd say 10 to 15 years probably.
I know that you're a very young guy, so forgive me, but part of the problem here is that Merrill Trust does not have a great reputation here in Sky Valley. That you abandoned the clubhouse and that had to be rescued by some 5 brave guys, and I won't go into that. And then for the life of me, I cannot understand how the city and how your company, and it wasn't you because you were too young, just let that building go straight to the devil. And how it was allowed, if that was one of our homes, we would have been dinged, Jim would have been on my doorstep. How you would allow such a beautiful, architecturally beautiful, and now over 50 years old, go to hell in a handbasket. And so I think that's part of this trust issue. The second thing is that there were 2 surveys done, one by Raven County and one by the city of Sky Valley. Overwhelmingly, both of those said, Sky Valley is unique. You cannot liken it to anything else because of our mountains, our narrow roads, the flora and fauna, and fortunately, nothing after the ski thing went kaflooey, nothing has been built. And so we're sort of used to our tranquility, our dark skies, you can see the Milky Way. So those 2 surveys said, we do not want 30,000 square feet. And by the way, if you want a mental picture, I think the clubhouse is 15,000 square feet. So double that commercial. And I agree with Ms. Herschel. Feasibility study should tell you there's no help. There's not enough people to even patronize a restaurant, this, that, and the other. The Magliokas, you know, how many times has that gone up and down over the years? And they close up in the winter. The point is, I wrote a letter, and I probably should have written it to you, but I wrote a letter to your father, and I've never heard one word I wrote it a few months ago. And I begged them, as much as the city says that they're gonna go bankrupt, that's not so. I begged you all, why don't you've got, you're billionaires, you've got 20 projects going on. I think you should build a monument to your legacy. And I would love to see, and this is what I wrote to your dad, have it the Merrill Trust Conservancy. You can get millions of dollars from the feds, you can get millions of dollars from the state of Georgia. Why don't you build a nature center where the lodge is? And the state and the government, the feds will help you build trails, bike trails, walking trails, bird watching things. Wouldn't that be so wonderful for you, the Merrill Trust, to be the likes of the Rockefellers and whoever, where they saved Yosemite, saved the West? We would like Sky Valley to be saved, and I've heard this time and time. This isn't something I dreamed up in the middle of the night. Our survey said, do not change this. We can have steady growth. We've got 10 to 12 houses a year. We have narrow roads. We have a community that could get locked in with temperature inversions, raise the temperature of our valley. So if that's my wish list and a lot of other people, very low key. If you want to build houses, I know some of the council members, his wife wants a condo with an elevator and a garage. That would be great to have those kinds of things, but small scale. 100 and some houses, that's behind where I live. And I had a party a few months ago to celebrate the Queen Elizabeth. And I said, I hope you're not looking at this for the last time. When we bought in the 80s, that was, and they had it mapped out, a golf course. Talk to the people at the golf club, talk to the cart guys. We need another, for all of the gray hairs in the crowd, we need another 9 holes. That's not coming from me because I don't play golf anymore, but that's coming from the people that are operating the club, the cart people and the golf course.
Amen.
Another 9 holes where it's already mapped out, because I remember looking at it, and we had behind Berry Lane, I don't know what hole it was, and behind Muirfield, that was fabulous. Now you're fitting into the environment and what our lifestyles are. And this business about commercial, and I mean, it's totally bizarre, because talk to anybody, go to Clayton, go to, I was just in Gainesville. There are empty for rent signs in the heart of Gainesville where their square is. And there's massive people there because of the medical community. They're out of business. And I do not want to see, and maybe some of us aren't going to be here, and I've heard, oh, I don't care what happens because I'll be dead by then. Well, shame on you if that's your idea of not leaving this community the way, maybe better than the way we found it. Shame on you for saying that. Because we need to protect us. And your family, you need to help us protect it. And this business of our council having this vision, that is not what those surveys told you, Holly. Those surveys, and I know some people, I have the survey. The majority of people want it the way it is. I know some person told you, because you told me this a few years ago, somebody wants a gas station. Okay, write that down on your list. Somebody said, oh, I would really love it if I could have a loaf of bread and I didn't have to go to Clayton. Well, you know what? We've got, talk to the country club. They've got the corner. Ask them how hard it is to even get somebody to staff that, the corner. We could put a little general store in there and have some bread and some eggs and some what. We could do that right there. How about that for an idea? And guess what? If they don't sell, which stuff isn't gonna sell, the club can use it. Anyway, I've been in retail my whole entire life. And I own many properties and lots of rental property. And I'm telling you, I don't want to say I told you so. If we allow what the city thinks is a good idea for the rest of us, I don't want to be able to, I don't want that. What I want is the peace that we have now, and all, the reason you've all been here and come here and invested your life savings or some of your money. We want to keep it, and the roads can't take it. We cannot handle all this traffic. And the last thing, do you want a 4-lane highway in this bloody place? And do you want 441? Who's tried to get to Clayton when they're moving all these things? We can't handle the traffic. We can't handle it. Anyway, I'm begging you not to do, and go read that letter I sent to your dad. And if you don't, if it went in the circular file, which probably went in the trash, I will be happy to send it to you if I knew how to send it.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
you.
It did show there was a lot of people wanting stuff, but like I said, I'd love to see more and see what the city's interested in, how much, none, what it is, because that's would be a big deciding factor in kind of our interest of moving forward versus kind of having someone else take the lead in it. Clayton, Gainesville are two of the fastest growing counties in the state, and also the Southeast. They're actually both doing incredibly well. I know there are some places that are open, but there's a lot of new stuff being built there, and those are very fast growing. Do wish I was a billionaire. I would be out fishing and playing golf, but this is our business. It is what we do. And again, it's something we love to do, but we do have to move forward if we're doing it with the development. But we want it to be, we only want to be involved if this is something the city wants and the citizens want. If not, I'd rather have someone else kind of take it on, because it's a great opportunity, a great place. But that's the feedback we need. And just real quick to the Merrill Trust, it is a little disappointing to hear that there's bad, because I feel like, again, I look up to my father a lot. I know he's done a lot for this community. I know he has the waterfall, the trails that he lets the city use, the park that he lets the city use. Little story on when we lost the development that probably not many people know is, in bad times, if anyone has a house, say it's worth 500,000, you have a loan for 400,000, the bank comes and says, well, I reappraised your house, it's worth 300,000 now, you got to pay it all tomorrow or 30 days or you lose it. And so when they did that in the financial downturn, after we had a loan on the clubhouse and the golf course to restore it, we were going to lose that property, and there's nothing we could do. And we had 5 million, close to 5 million in the golf course, close to 5 million in the clubhouse. So it was devastating to us. We were on the brink of financial collapse as a company. My dad made the decision with virtually no money to put $1 million on the roof and frame it in. So whoever took it over had a building that could be usable, as opposed to a building that would fall apart because of mold. So when you say that, I understand some things didn't happen the way people wanted, but I can tell you he went above and beyond to take care of the citizens in this room, in this community. And that's normally not the narrative that gets shown out there. But he did that, spent $1 million we didn't have at the time to make sure whoever took that on in the future had $5 million worth in it versus something that was unusable. So just wanted to let you know.
Benita Cotton also, 589 Alpine, and I have a question about the concept plan that was presented at the POA in the state of the city. Lou Oliver presented. Now, I understand that it was the result of a charrette, because I saw at the bottom of the PowerPoint slides that there was a charrette in March. For those of you who don't know what a charrette is, it's a stakeholders meeting where people decide the concept of what they want to go into that plan. Why did you not involve anybody from the community or the city in that charrette?
Let me answer, I can answer that. He invited some people from the city. We had citizens from the city come. We had some Sky Valley Council people came. We had the planning and zoning person there. We had the city manager there. We had our septic and sewer representative there. So we were involved in that.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that, because Jason told me nobody was there from the city.
Jason?
Well, I think what we're talking about is the one that was at Mr. Mateo's house.
That was
But the charrette that I was telling Ms. Orr about was the one that Mr. Albert did at his office in Clarksville.
Oh, okay.
That was like that's what I'm referring to. I was not involved with that, but there was a meeting
A charrette,
with Mr. Mateo.
which
and-
was a charrette, yes.
But that was like but that was a one day, there's two different things that went on, but the one that was multi-days. We were not involved.
25, March 25th, March
Yeah, I can
30th.
Yes, I know what you're.
And
Yeah.
if you're so interested in the cities, in the community's input, why did you not involve anybody from the community in bringing that high density plan to fruition?
Yeah, so a charrette, again, the input from the city was a lot of the surveys coming out. The charrette was a 3-day charrette. It was one day that was with the city's leadership, meeting with them. It was one day with the local builders, people in the community who are in that industry to get their feedback. What are they seeing? And then there was another with the stakeholder, with just kind of the advisory group and the ownership and Lou going through some different concepts. So it's a very tailored, it's not something you're gonna have. It's like 2 hours of really diving into the plans, making decisions, changing stuff up.
Yeah, I've been involved. in
Okay, so
charrettes.
exactly, but it's very limited, and that's set up a lot by the architect. To be honest, it's our own charrette, and I was invited for an hour of my opinion. And the rest of it was, they need to get to work to kind of put together what they're doing. But like I said, we'd love to get as much input from the citizens, and if that's another survey, if that's another way to do that, we're open to that. Because like I said, at the end of the day, the last thing I want to do is spend time if it's something that the city doesn't want. And again, it's flexible, but if it's not what someone wants, we're not the people to do the development. So we want the feedback. We want it to be a benefit. For it to work, it's got to be something the community wants, the community's behind, and it's something that can increase the value for the community and hopefully the value for all the homeowners around.
Yeah,
So
we've
that's
saved a lot of
goal.
time if you just gotten everybody involved up front, basically.
But you can't do that on a charrette. You can't get 150 people in a room for a charrette where trust me, I've done a lot too. And you get more than about 10 people in a room and you go through a whole day and you're still on step 1 of step 20 you're trying to get through. But we do want the feedback, but I think it'd be in a different forum than a official charrette.
Thank you very much, you all. This is just the beginning. We're going to continue this with discussions, ideas.
I will attempt to be brief. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the other Steve Mason, Sky Valley. And we're full-time residents. We're full-time residents, my wife and I. Okay. You did a feasibility study in 2017, and I've been following this issue probably since then. Interestingly enough, that feasibility study talked about a treatment plant, and their estimate of what it was going to cost was $8.9 million. So I don't think that's a package system, but nevertheless. Now, you've said no water treatment facility unless we have 5 million in grants. Now, I may be asking the question that's already been asked because I got here late, but I haven't heard that anybody say what it will cost. And I think, well, if it can go wrong, it will, and it wouldn't surprise me if it ran more than 5 million. That's just my guess. Now, to the point. From the beginning, a lot of people here know this, we've said that the homeowners of Sky Valley can't access the sewer system and that we don't want any part of it. That was agreed. But there's going to be liability here and there may be cost overruns and there's going to be operating costs. And our taxes should not go up. So my question to you is, and this should have been done before now, what is the solution to protect the residents of Sky Valley from the cost of this sewer system? I don't expect an answer now, but I do expect an answer. Now, okay, that's the other thing is, I don't know, maybe this question's been answered as well, but what happens if the treatment facility goes down? Because it will. I did some reading about this. Even a package system is highly technical and high maintenance. You've got filters, You've got stuff coming into them, particularly with timeshares and rentals, you're gonna have stuff coming into them, it's gonna be high maintenance. It will go down. So my question is, where does the sewer stuff go if the package system isn't working? Because that will happen. Now, and I might add, I got this from a friend of mine, next door neighbor, Fred Buchanan, who lives here part-time, next door to me, and he ran the utilities for the city of Chipley, Florida, a town of 4,000 people, for about 10 years. So he had hands-on experience about what it will take to run that sewer system.
We did talk, Steve, we did talk about this before you got here. Y'all want to do a quick summary for Mr. Mason?
Well, I guess the closest system I can think of to this one is the one that is in Dillard, very similar system that would be proposed. Dillard has a wastewater flow of about 60,000 gallons per day. About 20 of it comes from Raven Gap McCucci School, about 20,000 from the Dillard House, and about 20,000 from the city proper. So it pretty well averages about 60,000 gallons per day. We look at their, I don't know what they do a budget every year, fairly limited budget for a package plant. I've never known that plant to go down because it's got redundant features in it. It's got a standby generator. If the power goes out, it kicks on. And I don't know anytime it's gone down in 20 years. The last budget that I saw for your sewer system was somewhere around, and that's got to be tweaked. We're still in preliminary, somewhere around $110,000 per year. So that'd be spread out over somewhere around 200 customers. That's tentative, but nobody's going to have $100 unless you use hundreds of thousands of gallons of water. I don't think you have any users on that. But I don't know if anybody's going to have $100 sewer bill.
I think his other question was if it does go down, what happens? Was that your question,
Yeah.
Steve? Okay.
You got to get it going pretty quick.
If you don't, what happens?
Yeah.
Holly, I would like a commitment that you're not gonna make us hook up if we have well functioning. I am so, because you know what I'm hearing? The grinder pumps and all the things. Go, everybody, if Mr. Chipley or Mr. Buchanan will talk to you, go talk to him. And you people that are living up in higher ups, you're gonna do this to us. This is a sin to make us pay for everything because Valley View and I get it. And I get the club. I get, if you all wanna hook up, that's fine. If I'm not causing a problem, I don't want me, my neighbors, and fellow citizens to have to do it. And Holly, you say you live here and you love us, don't make us do it. And I don't like the idea that you're saying, you told me personally, as well as other people on the council, that you never saw that charrette before. Now I'm hearing that you were in one meeting.
I never
That's
said
one
that. I
meeting.
never said that.
Oh,
to
you absolutely
I
said it.
certainly did
Anyway,
not.
I think I've.
In fact, I talked about the charrette in the last two.
No, you and I'm saying.
In the last.
Sorry, personally.
In the last. Stop. In the last two State of the City address, I've addressed it, and you even came and talked to me about it because you told me I was killing Sky Valley. That is a direct quote, ma'am.
Well,
okay, that's enough. All right.
Go ahead. I just wanted to say about that charrette. They came up and had lunch one day, with myself, the mayor, I think maybe one of the council members, asked us some questions. Then they went off, so there was a meeting. Then they went off and had the charrette based on some of the feedback that was given. Though that charrette was done in Clarksville, but I would clarify, just so there's no misunderstanding. They did come up and get, just like y'all were getting feedback. They wanted to speak with some of the city leaders. I was at that meeting. They asked questions about water, sewer, what would people maybe want to see? And then they went off and they did the charrette, and they did that plan.
So from your feedback, they came up with that thing that we saw.
Well,
It's horrifying.
not all, I'm sure it wasn't all just of ours, but that was one of the aspects. I'm sure they took that, but I just wanted to clarify that was something They did come up, like, we had lunch one day, and then they went off and they did their meetings. I just wanted to clarify that. was-
Yeah,
it
we've
wasn't-
been going over 2 hours. I certainly appreciate everybody showing up today and giving us their opinions. I really do.
My husband and I are new residents to the area, 653 Elmwood Way. I think we are all neglecting the elephant in the room. I've been a healthcare provider for 40 years, and I tell you, if there's any contaminated water or sewer in this apartment condo, in this housing area, on this pole of the golf course, we are in trouble. I did 5 medical mission trips to Guatemala, and if you could see a village with contaminated water, I mean, that to me is the issue here. I don't care what it's gonna cost or who makes me do sewer. I want my water clean, and this is scaring the hell out of me where I just moved.
Yes, yes.
Could you tell it, ma'am, could you tell us your name?
Terry Tully and Dick Reader.
Welcome to the community, and thank you for your input. Thank you very
I
much.
need to go home and boil my water.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, all right, one more. You are the last one. Come on.
I'm her other half, I'm Dick Greer. We live in Forest Hills condominiums now full-time. Is the country club included in the study for the treatment center?
Yes.
And what is the affluent from them on a daily basis?
That I can't tell you. Do you have any idea, guys?
I know their water use.
Yeah.
The water use for Valley View is 79,000, the water use for the country club is 24,000.
For what?
Month, gallons per month. Yeah, that's water use, that's how they do it.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure they were included in
Yes,
the
sir.
study.
Yes, sir.
Thank you much.
Thank you, Mr. Greer. Y'all, thank you for coming. We're gonna continue with this. This isn't the end. This isn't the final. Thank you for coming.